people go to Virginia Tech, William and Mary, and then they wind up working in Northern Virginia. Okay? Let me tell you, this is going to be the mayor's challenge. I want all those people that are living in Northern Virginia that are still stuck in traffic right now trying to get home, paying more taxes than we could ever envision. I want you home. And I'm going to try to get those businesses down here that you're going to have jobs. Okay? Now, I'm a physical therapist. Okay? I don't know a lot of this, high-tech stuff. But there are a lot of people in this city that do. Do you realize the intellectual capital that we have living in our city? Retired admirals and generals and people that ran major corporations and everything. Let's leverage that. Let's put together a committee of folks that are going to go out and get those high techs. We got the broadband in. Let's go out, but let them also be ambassadors to go out and talk to their people in their industries and people down. Oh, and by the way, I'm going after a chunk of our Amazon too. And see, that's an example too of a miscommunication of how taxes are, and I think this is why, and I said in this very room, I coined an expression: good government should never fear an engaged and educated public. We should embrace it. Look what happened with Amazon in New York. Now everybody says, oh, they were going to get billions of dollars in tax things. But it was going to be, after tax. It was going to be but-for money. It was going to come out of money raised. But, once again, I know some folks maybe have trouble with philosophy for that. But, when you look at the Dome site that's been sitting there for 30 years, not raising money, we have to try to do something. But especially with Amazon, I want you to think about that. Yeah, they might have got some tax breaks, quite a bit actually. But look how many people would have been employed with good jobs and would have done for the local economy. And nobody explained that to the public or, quite frankly, some of the Congress people. Okay? That's the whole thing about these deals with the transparencies. Come out there, and I give you my word, any type of thing that comes here that is even remotely controversial, I'll have a town hall meeting. I'll have an explanation on it. And, we'll do video. We'll bring the people in to explain it to you. Okay? But that's technology. I'm also going to establish a business community. We got a lot of shrewd business people here. We got a lot of small business people here. I was involved with the Minority Business Council for 14 years. And do you realize that the Minority Business Council included small business, women, military, and disabled? So it just, it goes beyond the bounds, and we made some tremendous strides. And I know the disparity study came back and showed that we had a way to go. But could I tell you, we are light years ahead of a lot of cities. I had the vice mayor from Charlotte come to visit us. Charlotte, okay? Oh, Charlottesville is there. African American man, individual, and he said his city was operating. We were up around 8-9% at the time. Charlottesville was getting around 2% for minorities. Okay, and they came down to learn from us how we were doing things. Now we got a guy by the name of Taylor Adams that is working for us now. Very bright guy. Okay. And, he's going to bring in some business. We got to bring in those new business. But you know something? Let's have our industry leaders be ambassadors for us and help us go out and find these folks and get them in. And the other panel I'm going to put together is a kitchen cabinet. Now, what is a kitchen cabinet? It's not going to be necessarily business people. It's going to be people that are going to represent the community. Republicans, Democrats. I asked Dee to be on it. I asked Marlene to be on it. And tonight I asked Reed Greenbaum. You know why? Because I want people that aren't going to say, yeah, okay, Bobby, yeah, you're doing a good job. No, I want people that are going to tell me, think out of the box, Bob. That dog ain't going to hunt. But I'm also going to have Republicans. I'm going to have Democrats. I'm going to have Libertarians. I'm going to have members of every community, every segment of the community, just to sit down. I invited Kenneth to join me. This is going to be a representative body that's going to be a think tank. Because you know something? I can't be everywhere, and every district has an idiosyncrasy, so I'm going to have somebody from every district, but a broad spectrum of people. It might be like 25 people on this thing. And we're going to sit down periodically and have community conversation about things about our city, what we can do with our city. But let me say this in closing. Through adversity, find opportunity. And we had a tremendous opportunity last weekend where we came together as a city. Every faction of this city, every segment of the population from the city and from without the city came together. There was a feeling of positivity and well-being and community. And like I say, going forward, we're going to be into some challenging times, but let's face those challenges together. We're not always going to agree, but at least let's all understand each other and do it with respect and dignity. And, and once again, I'm going to end the way I started. What makes Virginia Beach such a great, magnificent city are the people. Thank you for, putting up with me. Thank you.
Question?
Read.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
You're reading.
yes.
Okay.
Now, Mr. Mayor, you said in your remarks, you were discussing what kind of city do we want to be years from now, and then you segued into a discussion about Pharrell having a vision for a solution to a problem.
Okay.
And that's the key problem that we have. So in my research, and you were involved in this, so you're familiar with this, in 2012, the city set out an appointed group of people to write Envision Virginia Beach 2040 as a strategic plan to answer the question of what kind of city do we want to be years from now. Unfortunately, that plan and the people that were picked resulted in a horrifying vision for our city. It's a plan that when you read this thing, at first you think it's a joke until you realize it's not. In this year's budget on page 3, it states how all the strategic goals in the city are going to be aligned with this 2012 plan from Jim Spoor, Mayor Sessoms, and the group that put this bad vision for our city together. Julie Hill, who you mentioned, and the STIR office who came here, they are tracking all the key performance indicators for the city to this 2012 awful plan for our city. And this has been continuing year after year, including this budget process and your retreat. When Hurricane Matthew came and the city council said flooding is a serious problem and we can't do any of the things in our city unless we solve this problem because it prevents everything. Not a single aspect of that plan, that vision was changed. And when I went and reviewed, because they came here, every single key performance indicator for the city by the STIR office and the city manager's budget, and I tracked it back to this year's budget, not one addressed flooding, although you told them at your retreat to do that. The vision for our city needs to be owned by all of us
Individually.
as a community. But we're following a plan from 2012, pre-Hurricane Matthew.
Okay.
So here's my point.
Question, Reed.
Well, it is a question. This idea that we have to have a vision of where we're going to go, we don't have consensus from our community. And there's a plan and a city government who exists regardless of who sits in city council, following a path that none of us were involved
Reed,
in.
let me address this so we can get to know that.
Right.
One of the things that I want to do, and how should I put this? By getting the Center for Policy Analysis and some other folks, and I mentioned to you that gentleman in Wagamar that I know, smart leaders surround themselves with a lot smarter people than they are, okay? And I got my friend Nick Sullivan. He was the guy that designed the system that put email on Navy ships, not a bad thing. And he was also a strategic forecaster for SPAY-WAR, which is a multi-billion-dollar operation and thing. And we're talking about a concept called strategic mapping, okay? And doing things a lot different, okay? And once again, Reed, let me put it this way. The city that I envision years from now is not going to be the result of any plan. It's going to occur by the people that are coming together. Let me put it this way. There's always going to be, with folks, disagreements, and, some folks are going to get involved, not involved. What I'm talking about is a corporate culture. I want people to feel that they really live in Virginia Beach. Now, one of the things going for people that remember my campaign from 2004, it was simple as ABC: be proactive, pro-business, pro-citizen. I don't know if you all remember that. And the thing is, there's a lot of consternation right now between the business community and the citizenry, correct? Fair to say? But the point is, can we find a way to be both pro-business and pro-citizen? Can we build that bridge? Because you know something? It's the businesses that we're going to have to bring in that are going to take the burden off the residential taxpayer. And the thing is, though, if we have that inviting type of community where people want to come here and start their business, then I brought this up during the campaign, and I'm elaborating on the point. Why not pizza? Anybody ever eat a Why Not Pizza? Okay. Started off as one pizzeria 25 years ago. Now they got 6. They employ 500 people. They have a mentorship program. The guy that runs Lansdowne is from the Bronx, and now he's an equity partner. And they're getting ready to build a national headquarters because they're going to go Papa John's. One business, giving people the right opportunity. My process improvement task force a number of years ago, we did a critical study on the barriers to small business startup and expansion. And guess what we found the problem was? The city. Our website was not good. We didn't have the adequate pipeline that would get people into the right. Who do you call if you want to open up a business? And then if you needed this permit, and this permit, and this, or that, it makes you nuts, okay? But what I'm talking about where we want to be is the plan is going to be in the people and how they perceive their city. I know that's kind of a pie in the sky thing, but that's what I'm shooting for. Rona.
Affordability was one of the items that was mentioned at our roundtable when we did your pre-meeting before you started the budget. That was something that was communicated to Neva White. That was out there, affordability, because we've had 6 consecutive years of tax increases. And now we are here again with the city manager proposing a 3.5% increase again in the operating budget. I, as a retired citizen, can't afford the increases in taxes. We have people like America Wyatt coming as a disabled person speaking to council, trying to live on $800 a month, 47,000 people in poverty, many, many students who have to get the reduced or free lunches. How do you communicate to your city manager that he should be starting at a budget that goes down and reduces taxes or keeps them level rather than increasing the growth of the city?
Right now, and I agree with you, but here's the challenge, and I'm just going to be upfront with you. The storm water obligation we have is something that we cannot ignore, and it's going to be expensive. And let me put it this way. There are three factors you got to look at when you talk about completing stormwater. We have a choice. We have to be aggressive about it or do nothing. And here's what the problem is. When I was in those homes of the people, you know, and Virginia can tell you, you know, it was heartbreaking. We have to address that. The other thing is too, and you know, if you know when Dee read my resume or you know the intro with the military, we have to. If we have stormwater problems and stuff like that, it's going to jeopardize our relationship with the military. I'll be right with you. And the other thing is too, economic development. Unless we show that we're aggressively dealing with this, no company's going to want to come here, okay? And no families are going to want to come here. It's a dilemma, but here's the deal. And I was talking to Reed before about different budget types. There's a budget scorecard that we can use that will be more effective. Like I said, Rona, I'm not making excuses. I've been on the job for 5 months with the gavel.
Right.
Okay? You know, going forward, what can we do to improve things? And, you know, with a number of the initiatives I'm going to be doing going forward, you know, I'm believing in hiring Lean Six Sigmas. There's all kinds of other stuff that we could be doing that, you know, going forward that are going to allow us to confront our, you know, what's going on. And, you know, we even talk about this at the regional level now too, because guess what? You know, I hate to say it, tolls are coming to Hampton Roads, okay? Whether we like it or not. High-rise bridge, the bridge tunnel. And yeah, you want to talk about economic impact adverse. You got to go, you talk to the mayor of Portsmouth sometime and what the tolls on the tunnel did to their economy, their families, and everything else.
In the tank.
Right, in the tank. And you're talking about the same population that you're talking about with the poor and everything, having to pay a bucket of money in tolls just to get to work, okay? So we're going to be dealing with that. Nora.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Dyer, also for being here. And, you know, it's kind of brave, I think, for anybody to stand up here to talk with this group, but you've always been wonderful, and we appreciate it. So many things I'd love to address, but...
I'll go on your show again.
Yeah, wonderful, thank you. Leading with the storm water as a response to Rana's. Okay, that's an important thing. However, there's a big difference between the stormwater need and issue and public daycare. What's it called?
Kindergarten.
Full-day kindergarten, thank you, yeah.
We are not raising taxes to pay for that. That's been, I'm pretty sure that's been resolved.
Now, maybe that's the answer, good. But why? Probably because of all the uprising, you know, about it, right? So that's good. But, so there's a big difference in I think that there are so many things that are prioritized by, as needs by collectives and other people's visions, because everybody's clamoring for a vision they have. Well, I'm an individual, I have a vision. My vision is I work hard, I deserve to keep my money, not to have to hand it over to somebody else who has chosen their obligations in life and don't want to pay for them, perhaps. You know, I mean, there's a lot, when you talk about health and human services, lock me in a room for a month with a red pen and a list, and I'll fix everything. I will fix everything. You know, Leslie's...
You're hired.
No, really, seriously. So there's a big difference, you know, between the needs and, you know, what people are clamoring for. And if our taxes and fees were not, you know, so high, people would be able to afford their water bill. People would be able to afford, you know, what they need. Personal property taxes, they'd be able to maybe better afford that car that they, you know, things like that.
But like I said,
right.
Let me put it this way. You know, to me, and you know, a good conversation I had with Reed prior to, where I'm kind of going in the future. You know, like I said, you know, I'm going to ask one thing. Give me a chance.
Oh, yeah.
I've been on the job
Absolutely.
5 months.
I have the utmost respect.
And the thing is, if we can do things like balanced scorecard budgeting, which actually prioritizes within each individual department and rank orders them and does all kinds of neat stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, but you know, but like I said, it's
I think the bottom line is, city council needs to understand, we, individuals and businesses are not their cash cows.
Well,
Okay.
that's where,
Yeah.
okay.
So,
Can we get up more questions? Elaine?